This video is sponsored by Surfshark. On February 10th, Gina Carano was, in a very public manner, fired from the hit Star Wars show The Mandalorian, and in an even more public manner, gaslit and canceled by Lucasfilm, reportedly on the direct orders of Kathleen Kennedy herself. Kennedy and her peers at Lucasfilm might have thought that Gina's fans would complain a bit right there and then, but then everyone would move on by the next news cycle and get excited for Geode and the High Republic instead. That is not what happened. In this video, we will go through how the blowback appears to even spill over to Marvel, how Bob Chapek himself was called out over it, and finally, what our sources have told us about Kathleen Kennedy's personal reaction to the unintended fallout. All of this, of course, can be traced back to the anger from the audience. Hashtag Cancel Disney Plus has been trending for a while now, and we've heard unconfirmed reports that thousands or even tens of thousands of Disney Plus subscriptions indeed have been canceled. Many moving to take to the high seas for the Marvel content they want, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the upcoming Loki, and Black Widow and more. Please note that this is something neither Midnight's Edge, our sponsors, nor any other affiliates condones. Not only is piracy wrong, you are exposing yourself to endless spyware, tracking software, and other malware out there on the high seas. And that's on top of all the data that is stolen from you during all of your regular browsing. Well, modern problems require modern solutions, and many of them can be found in a VPN, such as the one delivered by this channel's sponsor, Surfshark. A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, is a privacy protection tool which guarantees instant online safety and encrypts all data sent via the internet. On top of that, Surfshark allows you to bypass geo-blocking restrictions by changing the country you access the internet from, which also gives you access to 15 different Netflix libraries by simply changing your virtual location. Not only that, outside of the US, Star, the international version of Hulu, comes bundled with Disney Plus. If you're in the US and change your location to, say, the UK, well, then you just might get that too. One of the advantages with Surfshark over many other VPN providers is that it allows one account to be used on unlimited devices. That's part of the reason why Surfshark is the VPN of our choice, and it gets even better. If you type in the code MIDNIGHT when ordering, that triggers an exclusive offer in which you now get 83% off the normal list price, plus 3 extra months for free. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. Do check out the link in the description below for further details and to order. With that, let's dive into the fallout from the firing of Gina Carano. Please note that much of what we are about to reveal is information that comes from our sources with ties to Disney. And what is being revealed is information that has not, and in all likelihood, will not be made public. It therefore cannot be independently verified at this time. Meaning that unless another external source is provided, you will have to take it all with a grain of salt and treat it as rumor. Marvel Studios has nothing to do with Lucasfilm, apart from numerous Marvel alumni being involved with the Star Wars rescue operation after Kathleen Kennedy ran it into the ground on the big screen. Midnight's Edge has previously reported how Jon Favreau, who helped set the tone for the MCU with Iron Man in the first place, enlisted the uncredited help of Kevin Feige to help him map out a Star Wars roadmap spun off from The Mandalorian. We have heard from sources close to the situation that Gina Carano was a big part of that roadmap, which is why there reportedly was no casting call for Cara Dune. He needed someone of Gina's charm and likability for what was to be an integral role. Favreau did so well in casting Carano that the anger over Lucasfilm firing her was worse than anyone could have foreseen. There was no Star Wars on Disney Plus at the time, but Marvel's WandaVision was on. And as our good friend Doomcock first broke, and that our own sources agree with, irate fans took their anger out on WandaVision by no longer supporting it. We've been told that the hashtag Cancel Disney Plus movement had a real impact, and that many of the tens of thousands that actually did cancel were audiences that up to that point were watching WandaVision regularly. When they left, WandaVision viewing figures dropped. Maybe they would have eventually anyway, but according to our sources, the point where WandaVision viewership nosedived and never recovered perfectly lines up where Gina Carano was fired. Not only did WandaVision never recover, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier never started out anywhere near internal projections. Case in point, it was beaten by the Snyder Cut of Justice League in its first weekend, and a 4-hour new version of one of the greatest theatrical flops of all time should be no match for a 50-minute first episode of what we were told was a highly anticipated new installment of the MCU, the single biggest entertainment franchise of all time, bar none. That's not what happened though. According to insider WDW Pro over at Pirates and Princesses, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier started out with viewing numbers comparable to the premiere episode of The Mandalorian's second season. While that may sound pretty okay, it is in reality pretty bad, because Disney have screamed from the rooftops that there has been an explosive growth in new Disney Plus subscribers between then and now. If that is true, that would mean a significantly smaller portion of Disney Plus subscribers were actually watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier than were watching The Mandalorian. No matter how you look at it, that's bad news not just for Marvel, but for Disney as a whole, because it suggests there is a declining interest in the Disney Plus properties. That's the last thing a corporation propped up by Disney Plus growth wants out there. Granted, there can be many reasons for declining interest, not just the firing of Gina Carano. But if what we were told about a permanent dip beginning with her firing is true, it does suggest that what may have been a downwards trend anyway was escalated by her firing. Even the financial publication Forbes called out Disney CEO Bob Chapek directly over it. On March 11th, exactly 1 month after the Gina Carano firing, when they thought everyone would have forgotten all about it, Forbes magazine published an article with the title, "Disney's firing of Gina Carano is confusing and hypocritical, lacking sound management." This is unprecedented. What followed was a scathing attack on Disney CEO Bob Chapek himself from Forbes magazine. Of all the publications in existence that Disney do not want a hit piece from, Forbes is at the very top. Forbes is read by Disney investors and shareholders. Forbes is read by Disney's corporate affiliates and partners. Forbes is read by Disney's corporate enemies. That an article that might as well have been written by Doomcock, Gary from Nerdrotic, or even Midnight's Edge itself is actually published in Forbes magazine is by PR standards the equivalent of a nuclear bomb, and one that is launched directly at the head of the company, accusing him of mismanagement. This is quite possibly the single greatest hit piece against Disney in the history of the company, and it was done to Bob Chapek as a direct result of the firing of Gina Carano. The shockwaves from it are still making waves behind the scenes, and there will be consequences from it. Exactly what those consequences will be depends on how the chips will fall. However, Bob Chapek being forced to step down is an option very much so on the table. Unless he can demonstrate the appropriate response behind the scenes, this is the kind of thing the board of directors lose faith in a CEO over. No one foresaw that coming when Lucasfilm leapt at the opportunity to get rid of the troublesome fan favorite Gina Carano. Midnight's Edge did a major breakdown of this article with writer, producer, and good friend Kamran Pasha, so we do suggest you check that out. It has repercussions for what comes next. According to our sources, so again treated as rumor, the Kennedy faction of Lucasfilm were the ones ultimately behind the firing of Gina Carano. They had wanted to get rid of her for a long time, and for two reasons. One was that she was politically not aligned with them, which made her a target, and the other was that she was an integral part of Jon Favreau's plans for furthering the story begun with The Mandalorian. Losing Gina Carano would derail Favreau's roadmap in a major way. And as the Kennedy faction saw Favreau as a threat to their plans for Star Wars with the High Republic, they were very keen to sabotage him in any way possible. They did expect angry YouTube videos and tweets. They did not expect what happened. In the aftermath of Gina Carano's firing, they have seen popular sentiment shift in her favor, while their own product, the High Republic, has suffered more scorn and ridicule than ever before. The official Star Wars YouTube channel is practically dead at this point. No more than a single-digit percentage of their 3.5 million subscribers actually watch their videos, and every single video they do release is ratioed into oblivion. Virtually all comments are supportive of Gina Carano and against Disney and Lucasfilm, which makes their videos less suitable for embedding into other websites to showcase the new High Republic characters, such as the laughingstock Leox Jossi and trusted rock Geode. What hurts even more for Kathleen Kennedy herself is being ridiculed in front of her industry friends. Fade in. We have heard from our sources that Kathleen Kennedy took great pride in her video over at the Oscars YouTube channel, that audiences then ratioed that video and lambasted her so badly in it, to the point where one of the moderators of the channel had to log in the evening outside of regular working hours just to disable the comments, was downright embarrassing to her. That the lambasting continued in other videos, embarrassing her in front of her peers in the industry, did not go down well at all. What changed everything, though, was the Forbes article. No one in the Kathleen Kennedy faction saw that coming, but being a politician more than anything else, Kathleen Kennedy recognized that with that out there in the ether, all bets are off. As Kamran Pasha pointed out, that article pushes Bob Chapek against the wall and forces him to act, lest he be the one to suffer the consequences himself. We have been told that now, knowing where the article has come from, but being full aware that it might actually lead to her tenure being cut short, has caused a considerable amount of stress and tension within the Kennedy faction. They all know that if Kennedy goes, there will be no one there to protect them or their future careers at Lucasfilm. It has been opined to Midnight's Edge in no uncertain terms that whatever joy the Kennedy faction felt when they fired Gina Carano was short-lived. They now have Marvel Studios pointing fingers at them for WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier failing to deliver, and a Disney CEO that has his back forced against the wall. On March 30th, YouTube's official Twitter account posted that in response to creator feedback and what they call targeted dislike campaigns, that the platform were now experimenting with the disabling of visibility of dislikes on videos. Creators will still be able to see the dislikes on their end, however, they will be hidden from public view. A video's likes will still be publicly displayed. Variety.com specifically cites YouTube's Rewind 2018 video as the most disliked video in the history of the platform. However, the timing of this seems to be suspect, as it follows the very public embarrassment of Kathleen Kennedy's Oscar video, as well as the dislike ratioing and continued support for Gina Carano, and the lambasting of High Republic videos on Star Wars' own official YouTube channel. While we cannot confirm that this was done at the insistence of Disney, this would not be the first time that changes were made to their platform in order to what would appear to be an effort to protect a Disney property. It should be noted, changes in the YouTube algorithm that occurred coincided with the release of Captain Marvel starring Brie Larson. Even though YouTube may be attempting to protect Kathleen Kennedy, she is still getting shade thrown at her in the press. We will keep you up to date on how this all plays out. Till then, let us know your thoughts on all of this, and before you go, remember to help bypass quarrelsome geo-blocking restrictions, and to protect your data, you should get Surfshark VPN. Use our code MIDNIGHT to get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. Link is in the description.